Dear viewers of CCTV, I'm now at Haikou Meilan International Airport. We have newly constructed another terminal for the Haikou Meilan International Airport, and today this new terminal, as well as the phase 2 of its expansion project, is put into use since today. What are the new functions and what are the new highlights? Please follow me, and I'd like to give you a brief introduction. For example, here we can see the 2021 T2 terminal. It's a signal and also a slogan. By the opportunity of developing a free trade port, we are embarking on a new road towards the new future. And from the slogan, we can also tell that this new infrastructure project, the expansion of the Haikou Meilan International Airport, can be a very important support to the future development of the Hainan Free Trade Port. And following up, we have another explanation board here. The basic information about the Haikou Meilan International Airport. The Phase 2 project is located at the Meilan County of the Meilan District of Haikou City. The total budget is 17.2 billion RMB, and the planned use of the land is 8,644 mu. And the runway has a total length of 3,600 meters, and we have a very high level of the aircraft movement area to the 4F level, and also our goal for the traffic of the passenger by 2025 is 35 million passengers per year, and also the throughput of cargo and mail would be 400,000 tons per year. So by then, by 2025, we're about to reach an international level for the total function of this airport. And also we have a timeline for the development of this Phase 2 expansion project, some important landmarks during this long path of development. First of all, on the 5th of March 2012, the NDRC has approved the construction of this project. So that is the beginning of the establishment of this project. And then by 2015, on the 2nd of June, NDRC has approved the feasibility report of this Phase 2 expansion project. We also have the photos here. And later, by November 2015, we have laid the first stone for the beginning of this construction project for Phase 2 expansion. And then by the 6th of September 2016, we have celebrated an opening ceremony for the construction of the T2 terminal. And later on, some important dates. By the 30th of June 2018, we have first used a crane to construct the roof steel construction of the T2 central area. And another important date, by the 29th of September 2018, we have completed the connection of the runways. So maybe we can have a closer look at this picture to see what was happening on that day. So for the new runways and the existing runways by 2018, we have realized the connection between the two sides. Of course, nowadays, all those left areas have recognized the new buildings, and back to 2018, what we can see are generally the two parts of the runways, and they are connected on this day, on the 29th of September. And we are using nowadays both areas of the runways. So that is a huge complex of the runways. And in the future, and we have to wait and see its significant function for the development of this island. If you compare the two pictures, that previous one with this one taken on the 13th of April 2020. And we have these highways For example, between the two terminals, the T1 and T2, we have set up the bridges of highways. And by this photo, I could give you further information. For example, the left one is the T1 or the old terminal. We have the parking lot and also the runways. And here to the right-hand side, it's where we are. It's the new terminal. This is the newly built runway. And by this side, which is not covered and included by the photo, actually we can imagine that hidden part is what we have seen back to the photo in 2018. You had nothing here in 2018, but you can see that to 2020 we have newly built terminal buildings and also the roads, the bridges connecting the Terminal 1 and Terminal 2, and also we have realized the connections between the two runways areas. So this means we have significantly enlarged the area of the terminals. It would boost the connectivity between the two sides and also facilitate more travel of the passengers and also the cargoes and mails. And we have built up the new tower of control by the 28th of April 2020. And later on the 30th of June 2020, we have completed the main body for the Terminal 2. And later on the 30th of July, we have realized a trial of flight for the new terminal. Every time when we construct a new terminal of the airport, we have to realize this stage of trial flights. And this year, by the 20th of November, we have put into use the new tower of control. This means that for this hub of transportation, it can be ready to welcome passengers and also the cargoes. With the tower of the control in place, it means that we have like the traffic policemen at the road. And by the 22nd of November this year, for the western area of the aviation movement area, we have completed the test. So since today, we have officially put this Terminal 2 of the Meilan International Airport into use. It's not just the operation of a new terminal, it's also a new era for the integrated transportation network connecting the air, land, and sea. And what kind of new facilities and installations we can expect to see in this new terminal, please follow me and check them out. There's one interesting part of this new terminal. Maybe you can also find similar highlights in other terminals, but still I'd like to take some few minutes to introduce it to you. Here we have a check-in equipment here, which can help a lot of people. This is the visual inquiry machine. With this machine, you can solve a lot of problems. First of all, you can check the flights. You can select the date, like today, the 2nd of December. And since I don't know any number of the flight, so I'll just check with the cities of the takeoff and landing. I will type Haikou, for example. So now is the input. The takeoff city, departure city is Haikou, and the destination city, let me see, maybe Shenzhen, for example. So I'm about to check what are the flights taking us from Haikou to Shenzhen today. We have this Southern Airlines. This flight is about to take off by 9 a.m. and the boarding gate is 42. And check-in counter is C2. Let's go back. The next flight, the actual departure time, and also the counter for check-in and boarding gate. It's like a visual version of your boarding ticket. First of all, when you come into the terminal, you may be a little bit confused. Where should I get my boarding ticket? And which is my boarding gate? Where should I go to check in or do the following procedures? So this is a very useful machine, this visual inquiry machine here. You don't have to find a personnel to ask the questions. It's automatic checking. And over there, if you want face-to-face communication, you can still use the services. First of all, I would like to enter my phone number. I will try to see whether I could be connected with the service personnel. I would like to check out the status of this machine. So it's connected, right? Yes. So you are the person on duty. I'm the one on duty today. I'm the journalist from CCTV News. I would like to have an interview with you. So it may be a surprise. I would like to know what kind of services can you offer. From my side, I can answer your questions, and also I can help you out with the printing services. Could you please give us more details? For example, you would like to know the exact spots and corners inside this terminal, and also you would like to know the interior transport. For example, I would like to know the nearest toilet. The nearest toilet is to your right-hand side. You go by the gate 1 and you take the road straight, and you will find the toilet. And today is the first day of the operation of the new terminal. How many flights do we have today, and can I buy the tickets on the site? You can go to the sales counter. Today we have the flights from the Hainan Airline and the China Southern Airlines. And you can find Haikou to Chengdu, Haikou to Shenzhen, and also Haikou to Beijing, those flights. Do you receive any flights from other cities? Yes, of course. With the Hainan Airlines from Chengdu, from Chongqing to Haikou. Thank you very much. And also one more question. I noticed that you are talking to me eye to eye. So I would like to know whether you have memorized all those information. This is the very first day of our operation, and we are fully prepared for receiving all the passengers. And just now you have mentioned the printing services. How can I print anything? If you have any materials to print here, we can help you out. First of all, you have to upload your electronic documents, and I will get the files on my site. If you would like to print the plan of this terminal, then you can have it printed. What about the other files? For the other documents, you can go to the inquiry desk by the gate number 3. Then you can have more communication with the personnel working there. For our site is only for the facility of your travel inside this terminal. You just mentioned that you can print the plan for the terminal. Are you in a hurry? It may take some time. Do you have a problem there? Currently, because we have just put in use this service, so I have to have some time to get it prepared. Do you have any other questions to ask? That's all from my side. Thank you. Good trip. Bye-bye. Well, just now we have tried this one out. this visual inquiry machine. Though we didn't get the map of this terminal, but still a lot of questions have been very well answered. And I believe that for lots of passengers who are in a hurry, who cannot find a person to ask, then immediately the passenger can go to this inquiry machine and he can even choose this human services. In the old days, you have to find a person from the exact department in order to have the answers. But nowadays, with this machine, you can have the right answers to a lot of questions. And now we are walking inside the terminal, the new terminal put into use today. And from this terminal, it's quite convenient for you to reach another type of transport. First of all, Terminal 1 and Terminal 2, they are quite closely connected. And downstairs, you can also take the high-speed railway. For example, with the level B1, with the floor B1, you can reach the railway station, which will bring you to the downtown area of the Haikou city. And you can take the high-speed railway to go to other cities in the province. It means that you don't have to get out of the airport. You don't have to go outside this terminal to reach the railway station. Later on, I'll go back to all those transportation connections. But first of all, I would like to finish with this part. So let's continue with our journey. We know that today is the first day of operation of the Phase 2 expansion project of the Haikou Meilan International Airport, or also known as the Terminal 2. So we don't have too many passengers here. For some information of the departures, let's check out the departures today. Those are the flights around noon. By 11:30, we have HU 7371 to Chongqing, and a quarter later, we have another flight to Shenzhen. And starting this afternoon, also to Chengdu, Shenzhen, and Chongqing. And now I would like to further show you some more facilities enabled by the science and technology. So good morning, sir. Today I have noticed that we have a lot of facilities and equipment for the self-help service. So those are the new highlights for the Terminal 2. Yes, especially for the check-in machine, the self-help service with the baggages, they are the new highlights of the Terminal 2. We didn't have that with the Terminal 1. So that can help you to save a lot of time. Yes, with one machine, we can save 2 personnel, and it can process at a faster speed compared to the processing speed of the counters with the personnel. And we can cut the time by 50%. And this means that it can hugely increase the convenience and also the efficiency of the work. Also, you can have the certificate to prove your identity if, in a case, you forget your ID card. In the past, you have to go to a counter to get the stamp on the paper to show that you have this temporary ID card. And nowadays, we have this machine, so you can do it automatically. You don't have to go to a dedicated center or to go to a designated spot. So could you please show us around with all those high-tech facilities? Yes, of course. For example, those are the stands of machineries for the automatic check-in. What is the process? To the left-hand side and also the right-hand side, you can find the areas of the self-help services, and also you have the services with the personnels. For example, you have these islands of check-in, and once more, we have those machines for the self-help check-in with your boarding pass and also your baggages. For each island, we have 6 counters and also 3 machineries for the self-help services. How many people you can handle with the machines? We can save the queuing time for more than 1,000 people per day. So I'd like to take an example of a plane. For example, on an aircraft, there are 100 persons. For example, they are all queuing here. How much time does it take for all the passengers to have the check-in process? So for all the 100 people, we can finish the whole process with the machine in 1.2 hours. So in the past, with services by the personnel, you have to take at least 2 hours. So you can save at least 30 minutes. And inside, we also have a machine and a system to classify all those baggages. This is an automatic selection process. So different baggages to different locations can be selected and classified by this automatic system. This is how we have enabled the service of self-help checking of baggages. So today, our personnel, they have an easy job. I've also heard of the pre-classification. It's more like the pre-opening baggage. For example, if our personnel cannot tell if there is the risk of danger with one baggage, then our system can give us this opportunity to check out the inner content of this baggage. We also have a fixed ratio of this opening to check the baggages. In the past, people have to wait for a long duration of time in order to get their baggages checked.
那你刚才是我们俩聊了这么多啊，就是你的这些所有的自助值机设备的后面都连通着机场的智能的这个行李分拣系统。这2套系统要配合起来，使用的非常完美，我们才能达到高效率。对。好，那我们现在就带观众朋友们去看一下智能分拣系统到底是个什么样子，它到底有多智能，到底有多高效。我们以后来的话，这种行李的分拣到底是个什么样子。好，谢谢您啊。谢谢您，我们到下一个环节去了。观众朋友，我们去下一个环节去看一下。这是因为从正常的我们的一个旅客乘机的角度来讲，进入航站楼以后，先办登机的手续，办完登机之后去托运行李。那么这个行李现在到底运行的有多高效？美兰机场的这个新设备到底是个什么样子？怎么来让我们的设备运转的更好？怎么样能让我们的行李托运的更快速？也就是说，以后如果说有什么意外的情况，比如说 来晚了，那么行李能不能很快的就托运上飞机？因为我之前就因为晚到机场，托运行李托不上去了，就告诉我说飞机关门了。因为这个环节耽误了很久，最后没有坐上这趟飞机。那么，它能不能解决这个问题？我们到真正的行李的托运系统去看一下。那么我们走的这条路线呢？也是从航站楼出来可以换乘的路线。因为我刚才跟大家介绍啊，这儿有停车场，这下面还有高铁的换乘站。都是坐这个电梯下来之后往前走。大家看，这有箭头、停车场、高铁站，还有无行李旅客的出口。慢一下，我们摄像老师慢一点。我们往这边走，去看一下这个设备。这是地下的1层，我们看一下这个地下1层还是很大、很宽敞、很亮堂。另外，从这儿下去也都是走电梯。新的航站楼看起来还是很不错的。我们现在坐电梯下去看一下。也跟大家说一个问题，因为我们现在是走到了地下，接触到了地面，这是1层，这属于航站楼的1层。这里的信号可能会有问题，如果有问题的话，我们就将及时调整。往下看，这就是1层，这是航站楼的1楼。这里目前还没有旅客，都是工作人员。但是1楼的基础设施现在都已经是很完备的了。我们来继续往前走着看一下。我们看一下这种指示牌，外面指示可以去坐长途汽车，可以去吃饭，还可以有港澳台的到达。以及国际的到达，都是在这里。我们看一下，我们现在走这个门进去，去看一下智能分拣系统到底是一个什么样的系统，到底有多智能。当然了，这个区域我们也是经过允许才进来的，这个区域并不是随随便便就能想进来的。我们这个经过允许也是经过了层层的审批，才到这儿的。前面也是有工作人员带领着我们。要过安检是吧？我还跟大家说一下，我们在这里，我们的人和我们的设备都是经过安检的，就是在节目开始之前，我们已经是都检查过的。我看这里的样子应该是行李到达的地方，也就是说旅客到达之后到的这个地方。这个地方与之前的 T 航站楼有很大的区别。我问一下我们的工作人员。您好。您好。我是想来采访一下这个新的行李智能分拣系统，您可以给我们介绍一下吗？
我们现在在的这个地方是这个到达提取盘，然后我们这个到达提取盘是分为2个区域，那边那一侧是1到3号提取盘，是国际区域的到达提取盘。
我想问一下，您能给我做个自我介绍吗？您是？
您好，我是那个黄蕊，是美兰机场工程动力部设备管理中心的一名机电设备运行工。
也就是说这里的设备您都很熟悉是吧？
是的，传送带主要是我们这边负责。
我们主要是想了解一下跟上面的直机系统相配合使用的行李的智能分拣系统。
So I would like to know those machineries just we have mentioned with another personnel about the pre-selection of the baggages. That is the delivery belt. You have 10 sets of them. This part, the roulette is for the baggages of domestic flights. So we're about to go inside. Our delivery man will put all the baggages on the running belt, and later this belt would run until the waiting areas so our passengers can pick up their baggages. What about this one? This is one that is a standby equipment. So if there's any problem, then immediately our personnel would come to this side and they will do the hand pick of those baggages. And over there, you also have intelligent system. For example, you have 5 checking islands upstairs, and correspondingly for each one, there would be a loading system that will be connected to the pallet. What about the automatic pallet? The automatic pallet is also one on a track, and it can be moved. You can imagine the rails of the high-speed railway. The baggages would run and be transported automatically with facilities on the track. And over there, you can also see the trails. So sometimes from the programs, we can see very small vehicles, and they are robot-based, very smart ones, and they can go wherever the computer tells them to. Yes, with all this intelligent system, the machineries can help us to do the classification and delivery of the baggages, and you don't need any personnel here, so we need a few of them, and the personnels, they will just do the supervising work. The main part of the job would be completed by our assistant. For example, with the automatic classification system, the baggages from the whole one flight would be transported to this case, and later on, our deliveryman would move this part of the baggages to the smaller vehicles. And what about in old days? In T1, we have 100% human-run systems. Just now we have passed by that emergency response belt, and in T1 it's all like that. First of all, the belt would transport all the baggages, and our deliveryman would do the artificial classification and delivery of those baggages. And you have to carry them one after the another. And now with the new system, the computer can recognize which are the baggages that belong to the same flight, and all those baggages that belong to the same flight would be automatically gathered together, and later on they would be put together, so our deliverymen just come here and they take the whole big bulk of the baggages together. And it can also reduce the possibility of the errors and mistakes. From floor level 3 and down here, it takes only 5 minutes. And within 5 minutes, we can put all those baggages to the designated vehicles for the later transportation. So 5 minutes are just doing great, because sometimes the passengers may arrive in delay due to the delay of the flights. And still we have time for the deliveryman to do the work. So maybe we can go over there and have a further look at the other part of this area. For the uploading, it's quite efficient, and for the picking up of all those baggages, it's also very efficient. There's one key question we would like to ask. If there's a person that is late for his flight, what about his baggages? Should he or she be worried about the baggages? Do you have any measures in place to solve this headache? Now, 45 minutes before the departure of the flight, all the baggages would be taken by us, and we would take all those baggages that belong to the same flight to one designated place. And there's one person there to monitor all the baggages. If there is a person that is late for the flight, and this person arrived quite late, but still we can take his baggage. And I have a question, why we don't accept any baggages within 45 minutes before departure? Because there's a deadline for us to collect all those baggages, we have a lot of work behind, for example, to check the name and also to check the number of the total pieces of the baggages. We have to go through the belt of transportation to see if there are any left baggages. And after all those rounds of checks, we can put all the baggages of a whole flight to the designated vehicle, which would transport them to the flight. And again, we have to do the uploading of all those baggages into the flight. So you can imagine that whole long process still takes a lot of time. 45 minutes may even not be enough. So that's why we have to put a deadline for the passengers to check their baggages in. So here I also would like to send an invitation to all the passengers. Please arrive just a little bit earlier in the airport so we can have more time for the handling of your baggages. But of course, we can totally understand sometimes there are emergencies, and we also have measures in place. And in case the flight is late, we also have emergency response measures. And for that whole process, it's not my duty, so I cannot give you any more details about that question. And one more issue, when the baggages are checked in and they are on the backstage phase, there's a possibility for the luggage to get lost. So how can you handle all those kind of situations? First of all, we will scan the code, the barcode on the luggage. And then once it's scanned, then we have this piece of information in our system with our computer. And later on, so now we can suddenly hear some noises because the luggages, they are running upon our heads. I would like to see how it's working. So we can go upstairs. By then, we have to wear a security helmet. Back to our luggages for the scanning. First of all, our personnel would scan the barcode, and later on the delivery man would also check the code and also the information already registered in the system, and we will do the match to see whether the both ends of information could match with each other. In old days, some luggages are ignored or they are forgotten in the departure city. So sometimes when the passengers, they arrive at the destination, they find out that their luggages didn't come with them with the same flight. So at least with our electronic system, we can find where all those luggages are left. We know where is the last spot. And then we can use the system to check out all those luggages left somewhere. What about those yellow boxes? Watch your step, please. So we will not go and a bit further. We can just have a glance here at the whole system. For example, we have all those trays here that will be used for the transportation of the luggages. And this is a toting machine with which the luggages can be toted and poured into the designated channels. What about the trolleys? The trolleys will first carry the luggages here. Imagine that all those luggages, they are quite fragile. How can you make sure that the luggages will not be damaged during the transportation and delivery? Please look at all those channels. They are quite long corridors, and this can give a kind of support and protection to the luggages because the angle is not that steep. In the past, I myself had met one case of damage of my luggage. Of course, the airport has given me some financial recovery of that damaged luggage, but still, I hope that it will not happen anymore. Of course, with this long corridor of transportation, we can largely reduce the cases of the luggages. And again, I can hear all those sounds. Today, we know that it's the first day of the operation of the Phase 2 expansion project of the Haikou Meilan International Airport. And we have 4 standby lines, and we cannot know until now which line is in operation now. We have to wait and check it out. Again, to our viewers, we are now standing at the Terminal 2, which is the new part of the expansion project of the Haikou Meilan International Airport. This is a part that our passengers cannot see in their traveling days, and we could be standing here because we have already applied for this access, and we can see that trolley is running quite fast. Please look at that. So that's why within 5 minutes, this luggage could be transported from the 3rd floor, from the check-in area to the delivery area. So this is whole mechanical process as the robotic. And to the designated channel, and this trolley would do this toting action, and this luggage will be immediately poured out. That is highly efficient. Another question for you, ma'am. Since today we have this highly capable machineries and this high-tech equipment, we don't need so many people here. Yes, of course. For the classification of the luggages, we don't need too many personnel. We only need personnel to stand by the very last phase. So again, for our viewers, we are now at the Haikou Meilan International Airport. More specifically, we are at the hall of the pre-classification of the luggages checked in by our passengers. This is the new terminal that is just officially put into use today. We're now at this platform. By our side, we have 4 runways. And on the 4 runways, we have the trolleys carrying the luggages. They are running very fast, and that is highly efficient. Currently, we have 2 flights waiting for the check-in of the luggages. So that's why from time to time, we can see the luggages. And all the trolleys passing by now, they are pouring the luggages to that same channel because all those luggages belong to the same flight. That's why they will all stop temporarily by that one part, and later on they will do the toting work, and those luggages will be pulled into the channel. All those trolleys, once it's emptied, it will be carried back to the starting point, and they will repeat the work. So we don't have too many trolleys here. All of those trolleys, they are used and reused. So it's a 24-hour operation. When there is no flight, we will turn off the whole system, and every time when we need to go back to work, we have to turn on the whole system 150 minutes in advance. We have also 145 surveillance camera here, and there's no dead spot here. There's no blind spot here. And we have another trolley coming the other way. It's running really fast. So this is an empty trolley. It's running towards the collection area. Now it will go inside the standby area. Another question, also the extension question of the previous question. Let's go back to the lost case of luggages and also the damage case of the luggages. If there is a case of this, you can check the surveillance footage of the camera. Yes, if there is the damage or lost luggage case, you can report it to the to the department, and the personnel will go out and check the surveillance footage. And again, for this reclassification system, when our passengers are here, they can enjoy this fast delivery of the passenger baggages. If there's a case of lost baggage or a damaged baggage, you can get some help from the airport. Immediately, there would be personnel checking out the surveillance cameras. Please watch your step.
好的，我跟大家说一下，我们这里的环节基本就到这里，采访结束了。因为这也是一个不常能够看到的。
Okay then.
这里，我们也是经过层层审批到的这里啊。我跟观众朋友们再说一个事情。我现在站的位置。
So for this part, we don't have access to more areas because we have to apply after rounds and rounds of approvals after being able to stand here. And from the introduction of the system, you know how your luggages are managed and how you can handle a case of the damaged or lost baggages. And the next part is about the changes of the clothing of our personnel. In the Terminal 2, my colleague is waiting for us for the next part of the interview. Dear viewers, my name is Xu Chuhan. Today is the first day of official operation of the Phase 2 Haikou Meilan International Airport. I am now standing at the Terminal 2. This total area of the Terminal 2 is 300,000 square meters, and inside there are a lot of facilities to enable the traveling of our passengers. And we are also doing an important effort in order to match the level of this Terminal 2 of the Haikou Meilan International Airport to the international standards. And this morning, we have successfully witnessed the takeoff of the very first flight with the Terminal number 2 of the Haikou Meilan International Airport. And we also have a flash mob activity here in order to demonstrate the changes of the uniforms of the personnel working here. As we can see, we have 5 different sets of uniforms here.
伴随着我们新机场的投入运营，伴随着机场的硬件设施的提高，我们的航空公司呢也在逐渐提高
Today, with the improvement of the facility of the Haikou Meilan International Airport, we are also training and upgrading the capabilities of our personnel in order to better serve our passengers. So the main color of the uniform is gray and also the white. You have the summer version and also winter version of the suits. It's very elegant and can best showcase the charm of our personnel. We have also combined the Western elements and also the traditional Chinese elements into the design of those suits. And now you are watching the demonstration of multiple different generations of uniforms for our crew members and also the pilots. So we can imagine those very handsome pilots. They are doing the work to protect the safety and also help us to travel from one spot to another. So this is a flash mob. After the demonstration, we would like to invite all the guests and passengers here to join us. Please don't be shy and join our activity. So this is a flash mob to have more interaction with our passengers on the site.
可以看到，我们现在的航空工作人员呢，使用的音乐跟舞蹈都是时下比较流行、比较年轻
And
化
you
的
can
方
tell
式。
from the music that it's quite young and dynamic. It's also a symbol of our crew members and also personnel working at this Terminal 2.
教一个真认识人的方法，让心情怀好地方的家。当你梦不小心又想起他，就在记忆里画一个叉，就在记忆里画一个叉，就在记忆里画一个叉。好，海南航空海天祥云地勤人员新制服首
好的，我们刚刚看到的呢，就是航空工作人员关于近年来服装变化的一个快闪活动。那么，我们从1993年的第一代经典套装到如今第5代旗袍制服，实际上服装。
Now, just now we have enjoyed this flash activity to enjoy the different types of uniforms of our personnel. And you can see how many generations we have developed with those uniforms. And now I'd like to give the floor back to my colleague to show you more features of this new Terminal 2 of the Haikou Meilan International Airport. Dear viewers of CCTV News, welcome back. Again, I'm at the 3rd floor of the Phase 2 expansion project of Haikou Meilan International Airport. And now I'd like to show you some smart machineries for the security checks. As is mentioned before, today a lot of intelligent equipment have been put into use, with also the put into operation of this whole terminal. And with those international and smart facilities in place, we can greatly increase the efficiency of our use and travel here. And now I would like to have a short interview with the personnel here. Good morning, sir. I'm from CCTV. I would like to have an interview with you. Could you please say hi to our audience? My name is Huang Yanhui. I'm one of the technical manager of this security checkpoint. So you're quite familiar with all those equipment here. Yes, you can say that. So now I'd like to invite you to give us more introduction and information about this security check. Usually, we would expect to see someone sitting here to check our ID card and also the boarding pass. And now we have this preliminary security check. For example, there are some people accompanied by their family members, and by this side, their family members should just stop and they should not enter anymore. And here, if you don't have the ID card and also the boarding pass, you will be stopped immediately by the gateway. So only all those passengers who hold a boarding pass can have access to the inner side of this area. For all those others who don't have checked their luggages or who don't have their boarding pass ready, they should not go inside and they will be blocked. So how can we go inside? We will scan our ID card here. You can scan either your ID card or your boarding pass, or even the QR code on your phone. So you can do the checking with your mobile phone, and immediately there will be a QR code generated with your phone, and later you can also scan this QR code as a third option in order to have an access inside. So, dear viewers, in the future, if you take the flight here by Terminal 2 of the Meilan International Airport, you will first go through this preliminary security check. So here is the first barrier to separate the passengers that do have a flight to catch and the other visitors to accompany the passengers. And another case, for those passengers that don't have a qualified luggage, then you have to go back, solve your problem, and only after everything settled, you can have an access inside. And the next step is to check all the belongings with you. So, Mr. Huang, you will still be our guide and show us around to see more new highlights with the facilities inside. So I can already hear that you are quite tired, telling by your voice. Maybe you have worked too much. And inside, this is a verification process. How does it work? We have to get your ID card and also the boarding pass, and we will see whether the two match your face. And also, we have to inform the passenger that one photo is being taken. And we will also tell the passengers that we are doing a checking of your boarding pass and also ID card. If this step is okay, we will go to the next stage, the security check with all your belongings. We also have a very smart system here. For example, the facial recognition. It can realize a match between the face and also the luggages. So first of all, you put the basket here and you put your belongings inside, and immediately a photo would be taken of you. And embedded in this basket, there's a chip. All the goods and belongings put into this basket would be matched to the face image captured of this person in front of the basket. There's also a QR code. And what's the function of this QR code? It's also for the connection of the belongings and the person. So maybe it's like this. When I put the basket here and my belongings inside the basket, and I know immediately later on which basket should I retrieve, and also with the system, an image of the face is also captured at the same time, and we also have the simultaneous connection between the facial image and also the belongings. And there's another belt down below. Yes, that is for the recollection of all those empty baskets. So we have 4 positions here. It would enable 4 passengers to put their belongings into the tray. Traditionally, we have to go through the security check run by the personnel. Now we have this gate of security check. When you go through this security check gate, immediately all those hidden objects in your clothes would be detected. This is like a zero contact system. Traditionally, when we do the security check, if you still remember, we will use that detector to go through the whole body from head to your foot. And now we have this preliminary check gate, then we can make all those artificial check for security more targeted. Please have a closer look at it. There are 2 footprints, and there's also an image of a person here. So people tell me that when you are inside the gate, you have to put your 2 feet there, corresponding to the footprints, and you have to do the same action as the little man, because that is how the system can check your status. If you can hear the alarm system, it means that there are still some objects with your body and with your clothes. Then immediately our personnel would come up to you and have a further check. If the alarm does not make any sound, it means that you can go through this checkpoint quite efficiently, and we will not stop you. And just now we heard the alarm. It means there are some objects with this passenger. So on the system, we can see which parts have triggered this alarm, and immediately we can enable a more targeted body security check. So we don't have to take off our shoes anymore. For those shoes, like the boots or other shoes that have rather heavy materials and very thick materials, you still have to take them off. For the other, like the sandals, you don't have to take them off. And over there, there's a board signifying that the recollection of the empty tray. Up there, there's a sensor. The sensor will tell if it's an empty tray or not. We don't have to put our hands on it. It's automatic. If there is still something left in the tray, then the tray will not go down and will not be recollected for the moment. Even there's only a credit card left there, the sensor would recognize that and will not recollect this tray for the moment. I know that some people, sometimes they're in a hurry, they may easily forget something with the tray. And now we can detect that situation immediately, because after several seconds, if this tray does not go down and does not get recognized as an empty one, then our personnel would find it out. And we can also get the information, because just now we have mentioned the tray has this information correlated already by the system with the facial image of the passenger, and immediately we can call this person back and we will tell this person that you have left something inside the tray. And also on the system, all the belongings in the tray, they are correlated to the image of this person, and nobody can anymore imagine that they can bring something dangerous on board. If all the passengers of one same flight travel by the same route of the security check, and later on, if this passenger declares that he has possession of some dangerous objects, then the crew team member, of course, they cannot know whether this person is telling the truth or not. And we can communicate with the ground service, and we know through the camera footage whether this person has dangerous objects or not. This is another way to ensure the security of the whole members of this aircraft. We know that the connection between the luggages and also the person is a crucial point to make sure that everyone and everything is in security on board. And it has taken so many years before we finally realized this action. And today, luckily, we have the system in place. So for those wrongdoers, please don't be too confident. Please don't think that you can fool the system, because we have artificial intelligence, we have all those highly advanced technologies to enable the strict security check. So it's impossible for anyone to sneak anything through this security checkpoint. Please abide by the rule and by the law. For those forbidden objects, please just leave them outside this gate. So I can hear that fatigue in your voice. You must have worked so much. Yes, everyone's working very hard to enable the official running of the Phase 2 expansion project, the Terminal 2 of the Haikou Meilan International Airport. Thank you very much, Mr. Huang. Now let's go this way. Now, after going through the security checkpoint, I'm with the other passengers waiting for their flights. And it looks like a garden. And this garden-like vegetation area is one of the important design highlights of the Terminal 2. And I was told that there are 50,000 pieces of real greeneries inside. And I have invited one expert and also one personnel working here. Good morning, ma'am. Could you please say something about yourself and say good morning to everyone? And later on, could you please tell us something about the vegetation? Hello, everyone. I'm from the Operation Management Center. I'm in charge of all the greenery and vegetation inside. My name is Yang Zewen, and I'm an assistant of the development of this greenery atmosphere, especially for the creation of special atmosphere for holiday and also festivals. I have visited a lot of places and I have interviewed so many people, but it's the first time for me to hear a working position like this, an assistant to the creation of atmosphere. Yes, because our airport has attached so much attention to the creation of the scenery and also the atmosphere. So maybe we can take a walk inside, and during our trip, you can share with us more information about the interior design and also the creation of the atmosphere, etc. Yes, of course. Please follow me. For example, to this side, for the interior side, the vegetation area is more than 5,000 square meters. For the shops, we have 3,000 square meters. Just now, by traveling towards the inner core area, you also traveled through this check-in point area and also the waiting area. This is a part of the mixture of tropical rainforest vegetations. And from all those vegetation and the trees, all those are real greenery trees. You can tell the culture and the local features because Hainan is a tropical island, and from all those plants, you can already have a feeling of this tropical weather. We have all different types of the vegetation here, the plants, the huge diversity. And also you can find a lot of rare plants that are specific to our place. So, you know, there's a plant called the areca nut. Usually the areca nut is in green color, but we also have the red color version. Also the pineapple. This type of pineapple is highly skilled at holding water. There are different types of pineapples. I have a question for you. What about those rocks? Those are volcano rocks. They are collected from the local ground. All those are symbols of the Hainan Island culture. Could you please give us more examples of the local culture? You can find multiple colors here, really colorful diversity. And also the artificial rocks. And all those vegetations, they are intertwined and they are built and grown on the basis of the rock, the volcano rock. And that is a part of the root. It's already a dead part of the root. I didn't cut down any tree. It's just a reuse of the existing material. This part of the root of the tree has already been incorporated into the volcano rock. How you have mounted all those flowers. For example, the orchids. It's a very simple combination, and you just give the water to the orchids, it can grow. We have multiple types of the orchids here. And all those plants don't require too much water. For some of them, you will just do the watering several days. And you can also do the spraying of the water on the surface of the leaves. Those are all typical plants from the tropical areas. And over there, the orchids, they are like the flames of the flowers. And also another type of the butterfly-like orchids. They are all symbols of the local vegetation. How many types of orchids do you have here? Around 15. For example, this orchids that look like the butterfly, they also have some subspecies. They have different names like Anna and others, etc. So in total, there are 15 species, different species of orchids here. So now I can see that you're a great expert of all those flowers and vegetations here. Yes, because I'm dealing with them all day long. I would like to show you the red version of the areca nuts. So I know those vegetations already. Some of them have the curling leaves. Looks like the spaghetti. And there's another type of plant that belongs to the ginger family. So it belongs to the same family of the ginger that we eat every day, and the fruit of this plant can also be eaten and enjoyed by us as edible plants. So again, dear viewers, I'm now giving you this live streaming program from the Terminal 2 of Haikou Meilan International Airport. And we are enjoying the introduction to all those beautiful vegetation here. Just now, our personnel tells us that all the fruits, they are edible, but still I would like to give you this tip. Please don't touch them because they are for everyone to enjoy. It's not for you to take away. And all these, they are the red versions of the areca nut. It's the first time for me to see the red version because usually the areca nuts, they are always in green color. If you have ever visited the International Airport of Singapore, then you must have already witnessed this type of areca nut. It's the first time for me to see it here. It's a rare species, and we have introduced it to our airport. This is an introduced species to the soil of Hainan province. We have discovered several plants of this species, and inside this whole waiting area, there are only 2 pieces of it. Is it difficult to manage? It's quite challenging. Is it a protected variety? No. If you want to introduce any protected variety of vegetation, protected at national level, you have to go through many rounds of approval, and that is too hard. So finally, we have given it up. And there are also golden fish inside. We have a professional team to take care of them. They will come on a daily basis to feed those golden fish. It looks easy. However, I can imagine how challenging it is to manage them. I've also bought some of the golden fish at my home, and after several days, they didn't survive because you have to manage a lot of techniques to keep them alive. And over there, another type of plant that belongs to the family of the ginger. Now we have enjoyed so many beautiful flowers and also the vivid green-leaved trees. They all belong to this part of the tropical rainforest area, and we also have other clusters of plants. For example, here we come to the demonstration area of the Yi minority ethnic group. For example, you have a houseboat here. Houseboats, they are one of the typical elements from the culture of the Yi ethnic minority. Where are we now? Over there is the security checkpoint. If we look towards that direction, you can find a lot of the flower pots in vegetation areas. And you have selected different varieties and different styles of vegetation for different flower pots. Yes, we have different combinations and different mixtures, and there are only 20% of the varieties overlapping. I myself have also tried to keep those greeneries at home, and it's quite challenging for us to keep them alive. This is the waiting area. All those greeneries that you can find here are real ones. They are alive, and they are kept alive thanks to the hard efforts of our personnel here. And you can find a lot of plants unique to the local conditions. For example, the coconuts, a special variety of the coconut. The leaves of this coconut tree look like the tail of the fox. So we have two of them. Behind them, we have different types of colorful flowers and also the other varieties of the greeneries. Considering their variety and also their areas covered, I believe that you don't find a lot of competitors of airports to this Haikou Meilan International Airport. And to the left-hand side, you can find more than 50,000 pieces of plants which belong to more than 100 varieties. They are kept alive here. They are all real plants. If you look towards the right-hand side, we can see many more duty-free shops. Duty-free shops, they are also a big highlight of this Meilan International Airport. And in total, they cover 10,000 square meters. A lot of brands are presented here with the duty-free shops. All those are boutique shops. It's the first time for us to see a combination of the tropical plants with the duty-free shops. It's the very first case in the domestic airports. I like to have a walk here. For example, it's marked here, Haikou Meilan Airport duty-free shop. So all those duty-free shops, they are open, facing the varieties of the vegetation and plants. And today is the first day of the official operation of the Terminal 2. Already, all those duty-free shops are welcoming a lot of guests inside. We can find duty-free shops for the suitcases, for clothes. This is a very smart way of marketing. I would like to have an interview with our experts. You work for the duty-free shops? Please say hi to everyone. I'm the sales manager. My name is Liu Chen. I work at CDF. Could you please say something about the duty-free shops here? Yes, of course. Currently, we have almost 10,000 square meters of coverage of the shops. We cover the alcohol, the luxury products, electronics, clothes, etc. Now, if you buy the products here, you can immediately take the goods with you on board. Apart from this method of shopping, you can also choose other ways of delivery of the goods. You can enjoy this mode of duty-free delivery of the goods. I also have some questions for you, ma'am. you have mentioned a lot of categories of goods available in the shops. What are the most popular categories? The perfumes and cosmetics, and also the alcohols, the wines, etc. So perfumes and cosmetics, they are number one. What about the second place? The boutique products. For the perfumes and cosmetics, most of the clients are female clients, and sometimes we can also welcome some male customers, the gentlemen, because they want to give some gifts to their family members. So I would like to ask a question in the name of all the ladies. Do you have any discount for the passengers here because it's the first day of operation? Yes, today if you go into our shop, we will give you a small gift as a souvenir. And also, on the first day of opening, the very first guest of the shop would receive a diamond card. It's a memorial card from the CDF. So now if I buy something, I can take it with me immediately. Yes, we can pack it up for you and you can take it on board. You can also mail it for me. Could you please give us more details? Sometimes the passenger doesn't want to take the object, the good, with him or herself, then we can ask this passenger to leave its personal information, for example, the home address. And later on, we can use the delivery service to give this passenger more convenience. This is a duty-free shop for the perfume and the cosmetics. Already there are some passengers gathering inside, because perfumes and cosmetics, they are the daily necessities for the ladies, especially for the younger ladies. And they are consumables that would be reduced very fast. So from time to time, we have to buy some more new products. You have to show the boarding pass or the to the flight or to the ship or to the train. So that means if you take the flight or the ship or the train here, you can enjoy the duty-free service inside. For the perfumes and cosmetics, every year you can buy 30 items, and in total you can enjoy a duty-free service to a value of 100,000 yuan of products. And for the alcohol, you can buy every year no more than 1,500 milliliters of them. And there is also a board of attention. The trafficking is against the law. It's forbidden here, and we don't allow any 代购 here. So you cannot use other person's information, for example, the boarding pass, to do the 代购 business. So you cannot borrow another person's card or boarding pass to do the purchasing. For our salesperson, every time when we do the checking, we have to see whether the boarding pass belongs to the person doing the purchase now. So it means that sometimes when there's the discount or there's the promotion, then the price would really be quite attractive. And some people would come here to do the 代购. That means they buy all those projects, the products for the other person that are not in place in the airport. And this is a type of business of 代购and is not allowed here. And all those products inside the duty-free shop, they are authentic products. And usually people are quite assured when they are doing the purchases inside. And we also give the samples and some other souvenirs and gifts to the passengers. So that's why people, they are looking forward to the shopping inside the duty-free shop. So due to the time limit, I cannot chat with you anymore because we have to rapidly go to another place. Now it's already 10:20 a.m. The runway of the Terminal 2 is about to welcome the very first flight to land here. There will be a ceremony to welcome the very first flight to land on our new runway. I would like to guide you over there. So there's a guide. I will follow him to find the bad spot. At the same time, I can notice some other colleagues of doing other job here. And in this area, you can see it's very vast and it's very well arranged everywhere. It's very clean and tidy, and through the big pieces of glass, as you can see over there, we have a firefighter's vehicle in place and is prepared for the watering ceremony of our very first landing flight. We will take the elevator downside. With the first landing flight, it means that we are welcoming the arrival of the first group of passengers to the new terminal, the Terminal 2 of the Haikou Meilan International Airport, because today is the first day of official operation of this airport. And over there you can see the chairs equipped with the USB, so you can charge your phone there while you are taking a rest. We have also applied for the access through this gate. Later on, our guide would show us a bad spot to enjoy that watering ceremony to welcome the very first landing flight on the runway of the new terminal. We have already applied for this access. Usually it's forbidden to our passengers. We are now qualified to step on the ground. Over there I can find someone holding their camera. They're waiting for this historical moment, the watering ceremony for the very first landing flight on this runway. For a new airport to run into operation, usually we organize such a ceremony. The firefighters' vehicles, already we have 2 vehicles of this. Later on, they will produce some jet of water to form a gate of the water. Over there we can see the number 42. That is the bridge waiting for the landing flight. So dear viewers, I'm now at the Terminal 2 of Haikou Meilan International Airport. I'm by the side of the runway, which is about to welcome the very first landing flight in the new terminal. We're about to welcome this landing flight with the ceremony. This special ceremony is called the watering ceremony. So that is the one we're waiting for. So it's coming. And now the two fire engine, they're about to produce some jet of water. So we can move a little bit closer to the coming aircraft. So maybe we can expect to see the rainbow with the jet of water. But I didn't capture that moment. So the aircraft is still taxiing. I didn't see any water because we have to wait a little bit for the aircraft to taxi and to make the turn. Okay, I understand now. We have to have some patience. So we will be waiting here for some more minutes. And dear viewers, we are now here at the Terminal 2 of the Haikou Meilan International Airport. We are organizing a very high-level ceremony for the new airport and for the new terminal. This watering ceremony is a very high-level ceremony. Usually, we would like to celebrate important days and also important events at the airport. If there's a old personnel retiring on a day, then we will do the watering ceremony. If there is a first flight coming to this airport, to the new airport, to the new terminal, we will also do this watering ceremony. And now we have to wait for a few more minutes. Now we are within this security area. We cannot go beyond that line. Today it's a little special and we have applied for this access. Usually this area is only open to the personnel. Passengers are not allowed to be standing on this spot. So after the landing, the very first aircraft is still taxiing. Later on, the aircraft is about to make the turn. And for the watering ceremony, we have to prepare at least 2 fire engines. They will inject some mist of water to form an arc. Looks like a big gate, and that gate of water is a way of ours to celebrate some big events or some festivals. Back to the 1990s. The Civil Aviation Department has started to use the watering ceremony to welcome the new flights to the new terminal. And in foreign countries, I know that they have other types of ceremonies. For example, they have arranged the soldiers by the side of the runway to celebrate the coming of the new flight. And now, as you can see, there's another aircraft taking off. That is magnificent, especially for someone standing at my point. You can see at very close distance the wonderful moment of taking off of the aircraft. If you are inside the cabin, you cannot feel that. impression left by the magnificent moment of the taking off of this aircraft. If you are by the side, for example, like I am now on the ground, you can enjoy that whole process of taking off. And still, we have to wait a little bit more. So actually, we have missed the very first flight to land in this airport. The one that we are waiting for now is the second one. Because just now we have delayed a little bit. So we missed the very first flight to be landing in this new terminal. So the first one has already completed the ceremony of welcome, but there's the second one. So only the very first two flights, they can enjoy this ceremony. Now I can see the wings of the coming flight. I can see the head of it. It's taxiing slowly towards the side. This is the China Southern Airlines aircraft taxiing slowly towards the fire engine. There are two fire engines ahead. Actually, there's nothing bad happening. Quite to the opposite, we are preparing for a watering ceremony. We are waiting for this landing aircraft to approach. This is the second aircraft landing in a new terminal. And I'm so sorry that I didn't catch the historical moment of the landing of the first aircraft. But you don't have to worry, though we missed this watering ceremony for the very first landing aircraft, we can still enjoy the watering ceremony for the second aircraft. It's turning around. I don't know if today we can see the rainbow today. Now you can see the fire engine. They are making the mist of the water. So as you can see, the spray is quite strong. The whole area has very low visibility now. I believe the pilots inside the cabin must have already undertake some operations in order to see the direction very clearly. I believe that the passengers, they are also enjoying this wonderful moment. And because of the direction of the winds, I myself can already smell the mist of the water. And finally, this coming aircraft has completed this welcoming ceremony. It will be docked by the bridge number 42. And we can hear the sound of this aircraft. And the sound is dying down. I have a question for you, sir. Can we go nearer to the aircraft? We can go to the media area. We can take that route towards the Bridge 43. So please be our guide. We would like to move forward and go nearer to the landing aircraft. We'd like to follow our guide towards the direction Bridge 43. Now, I have a question. After the landing of the aircraft, many passengers, they are eager to get out of the aircraft, but the door is not open. Why is that? Because we still have to complete the whole process. For example, we have to manage the ground control, we have to dock the bridge with the body of this aircraft, and it takes time. So I would like to give the explanation to our passengers and to our viewers all in all. In the past, we were all impatient after the landing. We would like to get off the airplane. But every time we have to wait for some time because the ground services, they have to complete their own job. Before opening the door, we have to dock the bridge, the covered bridge, with the body of this airplane, and the ground service is also on duty. And the opening of this covered bridge is connecting with the other side of the airplane. And also we have to charge the airplane. We have to plug in. That means after landing and with this process of the docking with the covered bridge, there's no more need for the airplane to consume its own electricity. We can use electricity from the facility. And this docking process is also quite slow for the consideration of security. And now I can fully understand why it would always take a moment before we can leave the cabin, because the whole process really takes some time. You can see the door-to-door connection and docking. In the meanwhile, our personnel on the ground, they are also doing their own jobs. Now, dear viewers, you can see that there are double covered bridges coming towards the main body of the airplane. And this is the reason why we have to wait a little moment before we can get off the plane after landing. Just now, I have also communicated with the ground service. This is a plane from Shenzhen. We have now 155 passengers on board. When the covered bridge is docked with the main body of the airplane, they're about to step out of the airplane and they can visit the province now. This is an airplane, A330, so we can enable double covered bridges. Now, when I'm standing at this point, I can see a lot of things that I cannot have the chance to see when I was in the cabin as a passenger. And over there, people are dealing with the luggages from the cargo cabin. So I would like to ask you a few questions about this process after landing. Could you please say something first about yourself, your position? I'm an engineer. I work with the China Southern Airlines. I work with, more specifically, the workshop of the airlines. So you know all the details after the landing of the aircraft. Yes, absolutely. We know that there are 2 gates on this side of the aircraft. We have to wait for the docking. And all the passengers would leave the airport by the 2 gates from this side, and from the other side, there's another gate that is for the entrance and exit of our crew team members. So in the past, I was like all the other passengers, a little bit impatient after the landing because we all want to get off the plane very soon, but every time we were told we have to wait. Now I understand. Yes, because we have to wait for the docking of the covered bridge with the main body of this aircraft. And also we have to check some important parts, and we have to stay in communication with the crew team member. We have to make sure the status quo of this aircraft, and also we have to deliver the reassuring message to the crew member, telling them that everything is okay with the ground. So your department has to communicate with the captain. Yes. We have to make sure that the brakes are doing well and the ground wheels are doing well. And also, the docking is completed, and we will give them this gesture of everything's fine, and later on they can open the gate. So every time there's also a guiding vehicle. Yes. And we also have something new, that is the auto parking system. In the past, there will be personnel on the ground giving the signals to our crew members. For example, if we make the cross, it means you can stop here, you are in the right place. This is a gesture to show our crew members. And another gesture is to show that you have to stop the engine. That is the artificial direction, artificial guiding. And apart from that, we also have the auto parking system. So immediately the pilot could receive the signals and he can know when to stop and when everything's okay. So you're receiving some instructions, it's okay. So with this auto parking system, you don't need so many people. Yes, exactly. From now on, we only do some checking and monitoring. For example, whether the information of the aircraft has matched that piece of information registered in the system. And in the case of problems of operation with the auto parking, so we can immediately dispatch someone to the ground. And There are also some advantages with this auto parking system. It can make the docking and also the landing of this aircraft more precise and better targeted. In the past, with the gestures of our personnel, sometimes there would be some errors, but it's much more precise with the auto parking system. We know that your career and the whole sector of civil aviation is a sector of high precision and also of high professionalism. And when the aircraft comes to a stop, there are a lot of work to be completed. We have to check the status quo. It's like a health check of the aircraft, and we have to do the maintenance of the aircraft. And that is our job, and also the downloading of all the luggages. Over there, they are getting the luggages out, right? Yes. They're downloading the baggages of the passengers. Thank you very much. Sir, we'd like to check those passengers with the second landing aircraft to this Terminal 2. Still, we would like to follow our guide here. Maybe we can see how those passengers are doing after they leave the aircraft. We have to take the stairs here. Thank you for showing us the way. Usually, we can see a lot of cases of pity. We have planned so much for today's live streaming program, but still we have missed the very first landing aircraft. But still, we have the second landing craft, which has given us the opportunity to enjoy that watering ceremony of welcome. So, dear viewers, we are taking this covered bridge. We're about to welcome all those new coming passengers who have taken the second landing flight to the new terminal. So please wait for me some more minutes. Please stay tuned. I'm about to come back to you in an instant.